All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this yet another new episode of the Reality Kenya. Of course, we missed you last week and we are back bigger and better with our guest as usual from the Learned Corner, Honorable Wakili Willis Otieno Piki Ponki.
Paka Melodisto.
Karibu sana.
Asante.
How is
Thank
team?
you.
How is team Piki Ponki?
Team Piki Ponki is doing very well. The Paka was mellowing the disco this weekend on game in Siaya County.
Yes.
We attended a function, funeral service for a friend of ours.
Yes.
And we had a very robust engagement with people in Kisumu.
Yes.
And game, where we told them the new frontier that we want the country to go to.
Yes.
Interestingly, last week, one thing that caught my eye was an unfortunate statement by the Inspector General of Police, who decides to come out to say that Azimio hired dead bodies from morgues to go and display as victims of police brutality.
Yes.
This was quite unfortunate because you must appreciate that when families who have been hurt by the death of their loved ones because of an excessive use of force by the police are still mourning.
Yes.
The head of that police service cannot be seen to be very insensitive to cast aspersions as to the manner in which these people died. And of import to note is that the Inspector General of Police is meant to be observing the rule of law. He's bound by the Constitution. If you are in a functioning democracy, that Inspector General of Police should have been in jail himself today, because that kind of insensitivity is not compatible with Article 75 of our Constitution on the conduct of public officers. He is sitting in a public office.
Yeah, he's not a politician.
He's not a politician. And even if, assuming it were true what he's saying, how come he's not arraigned the suspects, the people who perpetrated that alleged act? He should have taken them to court. He should have mentioned which bodies were these and which individuals are these who hired those bodies to parade them. The post-mortem reports are there. The death certificates are there. The bodies are there. Of those who have died as a result of gunshot wounds. And those guns were fired by police officers. In fact, I said this before and I repeat today. IG Kome bears the greatest command responsibility for all the deaths that occurred during the Maandamano. And that is a concept that we will, in the fullness of time, fully adopt in Kenya. And we will call the commanders of the police units which have acted in violation of the law to cause maiming of individuals and the killing of innocent people to be called to book and the commanders to answer for those deaths. This is now permissible under what we call the International Crimes Act, which is an act of parliament that domesticated the Rome Statute. We will, and you know the beauty about it is that there is no limitation of action within which criminal cases can be instigated. Even if it's after 5 years, after 2 years, after 10 years, after 100 years.
Even after he's out of office.
Even he's out of office, even if he's dead, we will try him in absentia and call him to book so that his memoirs and the memory of Kenyans of him should be that he was tried and found culpable for overseeing a ruthless police service that decided to meet untold violence on innocent individuals. I also participated in a fundraising for the 2 young men in Kisumu who were pulled out of their houses in Nyalenda, beaten, and they subsequently died in ICU. 2 young men, brothers. Their mother was distraught. She could not even speak very well. Imagine losing young men at the hand, and they were in their home.
Not that they were out there demonstrating.
Not even if they were demonstrating, you have no right to kill them. But in this case, the police went to their home, pulled them out, and beat them to death. The 2 young men were buried in Luanda on Saturday. And when that is still happening, the graves are still fresh. In fact, even before they were laid to rest, the Inspector General was making such abhorrent remarks about the front of cameras and saying that there are no killings by the police. Those are killings by the police. And we will keep their evidence, we will keep the record. And that record will one day be useful in a court of law. And IG Kome will be called upon to answer to those kind of insensitive remarks and the conduct of the officers who are under his command. He bears the greatest, what you call the greatest command responsibility for the conduct of his officers. If I were him, by now I would have launched an inquest to establish who of the officers did those things, so that those officers can bear individual responsibility. That is the only way that he can be absolved. If he does not do an inquest on his officers to establish who was ultimately responsible, he will bear the command responsibility for those deaths of the individuals. So that was my weekend. We are on to a new week. You've seen the dollar. I told you before the end of
the year
of this month. I told you it will be 150. I will tell you again before the end of September. It will be 160.
From 150 that is there right now.
There today it will be 160. You know, some people say that you can lie about many things, about the economy, about growth, about GDP. But one thing you can never lie about is the foreign exchange. The market will always expose you. It is what in politics we call the water finding its level. So when you have a weak economy that is run on lies, the water will find its level in that economy.
At the stock exchange.
At the stock exchange.
At the exchange rate.
Yes. And right now the water is finding its level, and I'm telling you, it's not even found its level. That level, because of economic mismanagement by this administration, it will get to 160, and before the end of the year, it will be 200 Kenya shillings to the dollar. By December this year. At this rate, the way things are going, it will be 200 Kenya shillings exchange rate to the dollar. And you can imagine the kind of pain that will cause. You know, next month we are paying for the G2G oil. We are supposed to pay almost $3 billion at ago. The chicken are coming home to roost.
That is in September.
In September this year. That is next month. The chicken are coming home to roost. When I hear you say inaturamba, ndio itaturamba kweli kweli.
It has not even started.
It has not started. Because it is 1 year down the line, and there is no what you call confidence measures that the administration has taken that you can say is going to give confidence to investors and to the market that we can put our money in this economy. There's nothing that you can, in my view, you can tell me that has been done to stabilize the economy. I normally listen to the president sometimes speaking that he has stabilized the economy.
That is what he
that is what he says every day, but stabilization should not be said by the administrator. A stable economy should be felt by the people. Who here can say that we are working in and living in an economy that is stable? An economy that is able to respond to the needs of the people who work within it. Nobody. There's so much pain today. You go out and you listen to stories of young people, old people, just trying to make 100 shillings in a day. And even that 100 shillings, if they make it, it can barely feed a family. It can barely sustain a livelihood. And that, unfortunately, is where we are today. And this pain will continue to be there with us. Because I believe that what we are being taken through by Kenya Kwanza and David Ndi, they are trying to play Rasputin with the economy. They are trying to play, those little children games of trial and error. We are in a trial and error economic model.
It's still the picky ponky.
Picky ponky game going on. And they are playing trial and error with our lives. So let's try this one today. Let's throw fertilizer at this problem. What's the problem today? The problem today is health. Throw fertilizer at it. What's the problem tomorrow? The problem is oil. Throw fertilizer at it. And even that fertilizer was in the farms. And in some regions, the farmers are very angry because I think some unscrupulous people decided to take that government fertilizer and mix it with sand. Yes.
So right now you buy the fertilizer and part of it is
sand. So those who planted using the subsidy fertilizer, the so-called subsidy fertilizer,
yes,
compared to those who use the commercial fertilizer,
yeah,
which they claim was more expensive.
yeah,
Those who planted using the subsidy fertilizer, their harvest is not as the ones who use the commercial fertilizer.
the commercial fertilizer.
Yeah, because the fertilizer, some of it was compromised.
Yeah,
It was mixed with sand.
it's not pure.
It's not pure fertilizer, so it reduces the productivity.
Yeah,
And so for me, the challenge is that we do not have what I call a clear economic pathway that can transform this country.
yeah,
The games that are being played every day, the measures that are being taken, are just measures that guarantees you pain,
yeah.
guarantees you kurambwa
As a citizen.
as a citizen. Another issue that I must point out
Yes.
is the unfortunate incident relating to the admission to the universities.
Yes, sure.
I'm now in over 100 WhatsApp groups of students who are willing to join, who have been admitted to universities and are facing challenges of raising school fees.
Yeah.
When the government has adopted this new model of university financing that no one has been able to explain to the young people of Kenya,
Yeah.
and the costs are very exorbitant,
Yeah.
and how they're going to co-fund that with the government vis-a-vis the individual,
Yeah.
it's not clear. And these students are supposed to be joining university in 2-3 weeks' time.
Yeah.
So it's a big challenge. And that is quite unfortunate because a majority of students from poor backgrounds will not be able to afford this university fees.
Yeah.
So many of them are going to drop out of
Which is
school.
the majority.
They are the majority.
Yeah.
You know, people like me, I am where I am today purely because of education.
Yeah.
Education acting as what you call an equalizer in the society, giving those who didn't have a head start in the community an opportunity to better themselves and to advance in life. I'm now an advocate just because I was able to access university education and make some little positive improvements in my own life and also the lives of people.
Yes, and
who
part
I
of
interact
it
with.
maybe might have happened through that fund that...
Yes, because it was the government, it was subsidized education, and the government was co-funding some of the courses that you were taking.
Yeah.
But now you are taking that away from poor people.
Yeah.
You are asking a poor parent who lives in Runyenjes to go and pay 300,000 Kenya shillings for a B.Ed education course.
Yeah.
When before that course was 25,000 shillings per semester. This parent will definitely not afford this kind of money that you're asking them to pay. Yeah. And the net effect of it is that this young man who was promised will not be able to access education. Yeah. He's going to be reduced to a life of penury somewhere in the backwards of Runyenjes, right? When if he had accessed education, that would have been someone who can make significant contribution to the economic development and growth of this country. Yeah. So what we are in essence doing, the future is now being rigged against our young people. Yeah. It is being rigged to tell them that for those who don't have, continue not having. Yeah. So you will not access higher education. You can now become unemployed vagabonds in the village. Yeah. You can go and do some subsistence farming in your village. And maybe become a herdsman, be a casual laborer. So you are killing a dream. Yeah. What then is the future of this nation? If you kill the dreams and the aspirations, the hopes of our young people, you are reducing them to what they are not. Because the greatest asset that a country can have is not even the natural resources. It's the people. You need to always think of a person, a human being, an individual, as the most important resource that exists in any ecosystem. Because the ability of an individual, one person, can have the ability to transform an entire country, an entire society. So a prudent administration will be investing more in providing an opportunity and a platform for this individual to self-actualize his greatest potential. But if you are coming up with ways in which you are going to stifle them, you are going to dwarf them, deny them opportunities for self-advancement, then you are killing that dream. And when you kill that dream of the individual, you are killing the dreams and the hopes of a community, one entire ecosystem that will have relied on that one individual.
Yeah.
And that, unfortunately, is going to be our bane going forward. And maybe it is time that we Kenyans reflect and introspect on the kind of leaders that we are having.
Yeah.
Because I watched some of the Kenya Kwanza leaders saying that they are following on Mwai Kibaki's footsteps.
Yes.
That they are drawing their inspiration from Mwai Kibaki. Mwai Kibaki provided free primary education to every young person in this country.
For the first time since
independence. Every young person could access, even old, anybody. Remember Maruge walked into primary school to become a student.
Yes.
That old man was 79 years old.
Yeah.
So he gave a platform for every person to access basic education. Because Mwai Kibaki knew that education is an equalizer. It gives an individual, it opens up the mind of an individual to great depths that even him he did not know.
Yeah.
And just for the record, and we must say this, the truth of the matter is that today, in the political leadership, there's only one person who I can say has the stellar performance, the stellar record of having not voted for Mwai Kibaki in his entire life. Do you know who that person is? That is William Ruto. In 1992, William Ruto voted for Moi. He was in YK 92, supporting Moi.
Yes.
In 1997, again he was in Kanu, vied to be MP of Eldoret North, voted for Moi against Kibaki. In 2002, when the whole country was united behind NAC, Rainbow, again William Ruto stood behind Uhuru and voted for Uhuru Kenyatta. Didn't vote for Kibaki. In 2007, again Kibaki was on the ballot, Baba was on the ballot, William Ruto voted for Raila Odinga, didn't vote for Kibaki. Then in 2013 it was him and Uhuru. So he holds the stellar record of having never voted for Mwai Kibaki at any given time in Kibaki's political history. So how can he tell you today that he's following on Kibaki's economic policies? I mean, Kibaki put himself on the ballot 4 times.
Yes.
Kibaki put himself on the ballot 4 times.
When he was an eligible voter.
Eligible voter who participated in elections. And he never voted for him all those 4 times. But then today he tells you he's following Kibaki. He never believed in Kibaki and he can't believe in Kibaki. So he can't be the one person that you're saying is implementing Kibaki's economic policies. He did not. So let's move away from the side shows and focus on the truth. He has his own economic model. They hope it is Kibaki's economic model. But it is not, because it is far removed from Kibaki's economic model. Kibaki's economic model was on the supply side economics, not the demand side. Kibaki was about little government in our space. It was about opening up space for the private sector to grow. Him is over borrowing in the domestic market. Kibaki eased government borrowing from domestic market so that banks will be able to access, to give credit facilities to you and I at a lower interest rate. During Kibaki's time, interest rate was around 7-8%. Today, interest rate, if I go to the bank today, the minimum for an individual is 20% interest rate of what you are taking. Today, it is 20% plus. Kibaki's time, it was 7. Ask yourself why. Very simple. Today, governments are looking at, banks are looking at government as the best customer. So they take all their money and lend it to government.
So if you go as an individual...
They don't want you. In fact, when they give you money, the interest rate is so prohibitive. It is actually, they know that we are giving you money and you are going to default.
Actually, a friend of mine went to borrow, to get some funding for a project that he was doing in the village. And he was told that the interest rate was going to be 24%.
Yes.
He had to give up.
The minimum is 20% for an individual. And based on your risk assessment, it can go higher. That is why your friend went to his risk assessment took him 24% interest rate. Some people may even get to 30% interest rate based on your risk assessment. But even how much credit will you get? Will they give you? Right? So if the interest rate, for example, was 7%, government was not borrowing where Kibaki had it. A bank will come to me and tell you, now see me, you come from Homa Bay, you have Lake Victoria right there, we can give you a loan of 100 million shillings. Go and put up fish cages you have a market, ready market for fresh lake fish in Europe. So put up your fish cages, 100 million, 7% interest rate.
The interest rate. Giving you
because
5 to 10 years.
remember, give you 5 years or 10 years to pay. Remember, when you do, for example, fish cages, the first 8 months is just throwing in money.
True.
Because the first fingerlings will mature after around 6 months. Right? So your first harvest you expect is in 7 months' time. Accessing the markets by the time you get your payments, 8 months. Now, if you are being charged interest rate of 20%
per month of the total amount,
yes. Even if it is compounded,
it
means by the time you are doing your first harvest, you owe the bank around 120 million Kenyan shillings, even before you start selling. So you are a slave of the bank. The interest rate makes it prohibitive. You will never take that kind of facility, right? Because it means it's very clear that in 1 year's time, you're going to default.
Of course.
And they're going to sell your cages, if at all they'll find someone to buy. That is why today you go to the newspapers, the leading advertisers are auctioneers.
Sure.
Because people are taking loans, and the banks know that you will not pay. Which growth is this that you are going to achieve when the interest rate is 20%?
Nothing.
Plus? You cannot. So that is the unfortunate position we find ourselves in today. And it is quite saddening. And Kenyans need to now start asking really hard questions. We must introspect and think through what this political leadership that has been in place in Kenya for the last 60 years has done to us. And I always say, if you are satisfied with the last 60 years of your life, that things are okay, then the choices are clear. You can continue voting the way you've been voting. But if you believe that this country needs to introspect and find a changing point, our Damascus moment, where we must now make a turn, right? Then we need to now think seriously about electing a totally new leadership. The Safina leadership of Jimmy Willie. Those who are coming with fresh ideas and are not holding the shackles, are not held back by the shackles of our politics. So that we ensnare, we try a new thing. Let's try a new model. A model that focuses on the economy and the people. But this one that we are on, remember in 1963, when Jomo Kenyatta and Jaramogi Oginga Odinga led us to independence, they identified 3 major ills. Disease, poverty, and ignorance. Those are the 3 ills they are going to fight today. In 1963, at the foundation of the nation. Do we have disease in this country today?
It's still there.
Access to health care is still a big problem, right? Many of our people are dying of preventable diseases, right? We have many people who deserve to access, who have cases that needs advanced treatment or even basic treatment, who are not able to afford or even access health services. So disease is still there. Number 2 is poverty.
Which is still a major issue.
Out of every 100 Kenyans, 63% of them are poor.
Very poor.
Very poor. And when I'm talking of the poverty, I'm talking of those who are earning less than 200 shillings per day. 63% are earning less than 200 Kenyan shillings per day. They are living below the poverty line. This is as per the KIPRA report. Right? That is a government agency that does policy research. 63% of Kenyans are poor. So poverty, 60 years after independence. So poverty has not been achieved. Number 3 is ignorance. When you are coming with the economic educational policies that are just limiting the number of people who will access higher education, are you not seeing ignorance a big problem? People are now following politicians for handouts, not for the ideas. Is that not an ignorant population? Right? So the 3 major ills that our founding fathers identified are still here with us today. So it means that naturally, the policies that have been implemented since that time to date have not been able to eliminate these 3 ills which the founding fathers in their wisdom identified. So a prudent person will only think and say, wait a minute, maybe we are doing it the wrong way. Maybe the leaders we are putting to help eradicate these 3 ills are not focused. Why not try a new crop of leaders? So that Kenyans should stop complaining if every time you are voting these same people who have given you the same results, then you complain. Every election cycle after another. The same people who contest elections, the same people are elected into office, and the problems keep being there. So it is time that we introspect and say, this 60 years enough. Let's try a new model. Let's now change the conversation. Move it away from politicians to now technical people. Those who have ideas and those who are not held back by shackles of politics, who will focus on an identified problem of this country. And for me, the foundational problem that we are facing in this country today is the economy. Who can address our economic challenges and grant us opportunities that will transform the position of this country?
Wow.
That is where we should.
Exactly.
Yes.
Wakili, one thing that I've noticed since we started this particular show is that some people even have now branded you the name of a prophet. Because most of the things that we said 6 months ago, you give them time, in the next 3 months, they happen. Right now, we say that by this month, the dollar will be 150. One thing also that we said when we were talking about the housing finance, that was the bill there, was that it was not going to be something for the people. Yesterday, the president said that the housing finance is not about houses. It is now about giving youths an employment opportunity.
Yes.
Don't you think that is now another turn altogether?
Of course. Of course. You see, these things you analyze. You know, I told you that the one identified ill of the country was ignorance.
Yes.
And politicians love an ignorant population. People who don't question them, people who don't analyze. All I do is I analyze. When somebody makes a proposal, you analyze it. Because you must understand the lay of the land. Understand the political and the economy of the country. And you can tell whether this can be done and if it's achievable. Okay? I could tell you that government cannot run a housing model. And more so, when you have a population that is living in poverty. I told you last time, 80,000 of Kenya, only 80,000 Kenyans and 100,000 Kenya shillings plus. Only 80,000 Kenyans.
Out of the millions of
Out of the 50 million Kenyans we have, only 80,000 and 100,000 Kenya shillings plus. So our main problem is not housing. The problem, for example, in the housing sector is uptake. Right? It is uptake. The kind of houses you want to build. Do you have a ready population that can access it, that can afford it? You are going to give somebody a brick house or an apartment when this person cannot even afford the basic meal that you need. Yes, just food to live there. So when you start that the problem is housing, you're missing the point. The point is that you have a population that is living in poverty. You need to uplift their standards of life. You need to give them opportunities to economically participate, improve their earnings, give them opportunities to earn more. Then once they start making money, that group will on their own move into this better housing that you're talking about. In fact, they will not even need you to build it for them. They will build it themselves. And even those who will see opportunities that now we have a group. For example, I told you last time, if we were to move the 500, the number of Kenyans earning of 100,000 Kenya shillings from 80,000 to 1 million Kenyans earning over 100,000. If you had 1 million Kenyans earning over 100,000 Kenya shillings today, now you can imagine the demand for better housing by this group. Right?
It will be huge.
It will be huge because now they have disposable income. They'll be able to spend. They'll want to live in luxurious houses, right? Now, another individual will be seeing an opportunity that I have a population here of 1 million people who have now enhanced their earning capacities. They need houses. So I need to invest my money by building the kind of houses that this new captive audience will want to live in. You'll find housing sprouting all over the country.
And doing itself.
Not government. Not government. It will be the private sector that will be identifying where these people are, the cost of the houses they can afford, and the basic necessities that are required for that house. And that will, what he's saying about that, creating employment,
Yeah.
that employment will be created again by the private, without government coming back to take money from the population to do the same thing. What it will mean is that government now will have no pressure to build a house.
Yes.
If anything, government will be collecting more money
Yeah.
from the growth that will be witnessed in the housing sector.
Yes.
Right?
Wow.
The consumables that are necessary in a housing project, government will be collecting more revenue in terms of VAT. Right? You understand?
Yeah.
That is how, as we look at the economy,
Yeah.
you don't become that now the prefect, that you are the one who understands all problems of Kenya.
Yes.
That you think the problem of food is fertilizer.
Fertilizer.
Who told you? Who told you the problem of food in this country is fertilizer? Do you know about crop identification, crop management? Do you know what it means about soil testing? Because you may be pouring fertilizer on soil quality that is very poor, cannot even be increased. You may be planting the wrong crops on that soil.
Yeah.
Right? So when you're talking about food security, you go beyond just housing, fertilizer.
Yeah.
Look even in terms of the kind of crop that is being planted on what soil.
Yeah.
The quality of seeds, all right, that the farmers are able to access.
Yeah.
And then the routine maintenance, weeding, watering, it comes to applying foliar on the crop, right?
Yeah.
That guarantees you
A better
a
harvest.
better harvest.
Yeah.
And even at harvest time, you start thinking of storage facilities. What is the best way that we can harvest this crop? How do we store it that it can last longer, right? So that you can access over the year.
Yeah.
You have a constant supply of the product, of the crop to the market as and when required.
Yeah.
So you can't just throw fertilizer and say now we've achieved food security.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way. Yeah? But politicians love that kind of talk because it's cheap talk. The expensive talk, which requires hard work, is you look at the entire the crop production line,
Process and all that.
and you come up with interventions at every point that will guarantee you a more successful harvest and a long-term product that will ensure constant supply in the market and good prices for the farmer. Yes.
It's a tough one for them.
They don't. That's a difficult conversation. For
Yeah.
them.
As we wind up, Wakili, it is 1 year, actually exactly 1 year, because I think the results were announced on 13th of August, that is like yesterday. It's exactly 1 year since the Kenya Kwanza government were announced. And so far, so good. Kenyans have nothing, completely nothing to point from this very government. From your own view, do you think that the next 1 year might be the same as the past 1 year, or is there's anything that these guys can do to at least make an improvement?
The next 1 year is going to be worse. The next 1 year is going to be worse than the last 1 year.
Really?
In terms of the economy and the governance.
Yeah.
For the simple reason that this last 1 year they've been partly running on the remaining vestiges of Uhuru's economic programs. Right now it's going to be their budget.
Actually, they said they were working on Uhuru's
budget. Now they are going to be running their budget and implementing fully the economic policies.
Yes.
And the telltale signs of what I've seen, what's the positions they've taken, some of their policy pronouncements, I can tell you that the next 1 year is going to be worse than the last 1 year. Kenyans are going to feel far much more pain. And I'm not a prophet of doom. It is the unfortunate truth that must be spoken. And I'm not even attacking that administration. We wish them well. When a government succeeds, the people succeed. I wish them well. But I'm just saying, based on their public positions and the policies they are implementing, you can tell that this one is not going anywhere. A train wreck, you don't wait for a train to run off its tracks to say there's a train wreck. You just look at the tracks, how they are laid. If you start seeing that the tracks are off, of course when a train passes there, you're going to see a wreck. Right? So I've seen the track, how it has been laid, is leading you to a wreck. Just waiting for the train to come. Then I report there's a wreck, train wreck. It doesn't mean that you are a magician to think that, to know, even a prophet, that this was going to be a train wreck here tomorrow. No. I just look at the track and you can tell the track looks this way.
Yeah.
Disjointed here. It is not connected here. Some are off. If any train comes along that track, that train is going to have a train wreck. That is what you are witnessing. And that is why I say Kenyans will have to introspect and consciously make a decision in the next dispensation of the kind of leaders that they want to lead them. And those can only be leaders who understand and genuinely believe in the economic issue that we are raising. Yes.
Wow. One last word to our viewers. You know we missed them, eh?
Oh, we miss our viewers. No, our viewers, we love you so much.
Yes.
Now let's keep engaging. Let's keep talking. This will be the platform where we will unveil an economic blueprint for this country.
Exactly.
That will not make this country the Singapore of Kenya, of Africa. We don't want to be the Singapore of Africa. This country will be the Kenya of Africa.
Wow. The pride of Africa.
Yes, it will be the Kenya of Africa.
Yes.
Because Kenyans are great. We should not be benchmarking ourselves with other countries to say that we want to be like them. When those countries, South Korea, one day I was told of some Kenyan officials went to South Korea to look at how South Korea became a successful country.
Yes.
The South Koreans were surprised. But this is a document we got from Kenya.
What?
Yeah. We got our blueprint from Kenya. We've just been implementing it for the last 30 years.
Yeah.
You people, it seems you made the blueprint and you threw it away. That is what I say, that Kenya will be the Kenya of Africa. A country that has ideas, but gives opportunities to its people to actualize those ideas. And we get rid of all these politicians. Get a new crop of leaders who are ready to serve, not there to rule. Yes.
Wow. Thank you so much, Wakili.
Thank you,
very
Simi.
grateful. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, this is The Reality Kenya. My name is Simi Kenya as well. May God bless you. Until next time, this is The Reality Kenya. Thank you.
Thank you.
Asante sana.
Good day.
Good